Monster Hunter is a franchise that manages to embrace its own complexity. The series is notorious for being overwhelming at times, especially from a newcomer's perspective. It frequently introduces perplexing gameplay mechanics, sometimes at a breakneck pace. However, despite these initial hurdles, an addictive gameplay loop manages to grab you, just like the game's variety of ravenous monsters. For the most part, it has not changed in Monster Hunter Rise for Nintendo Switch. Monster Hunter Rise manages to retain what made the franchise great in the first place, continuing to reward its players meaningfully and make each monster encounter feel unique. However, a few new additions here and there, alongside a beautiful art style and fantastic presentation, have made Monster Hunter Rise one of my favorite Switch games of all time. The previous Monster Hunter game, Monster Hunter World, was beautiful. It managed to live up to its subtitle, offering a living, breathing world filled with discoveries and excitement. Monster Hunter Rise doesn't look as visually exciting as its predecessor, mostly in part to the jump to less powerful hardware. Instead, Monster Hunter Rise manages to create its own identity, offering a unique art style that is both beautiful and exciting to look at. Most of this is achieved through the game's setting and environments. Monster Hunter Rise takes place in Kamura Village during an era that resembles feudal Japan. Its residents have eccentric and often fun personalities, and generally speaking, the voice acting is brilliant across the board, even though you'll rarely hear full sentences, with most of that being reserved for cutscenes. Even though Monster Hunter Rise has a fantastic setting and fun characters, the story itself is only serviceable. Narrative has never really been an area of focus for the franchise. The new threat present in the story has some cool moments, but it didn't really resonate with me overall. Fortunately, the game's fantastic presentation and distinct sandboxes to explore make up for the issues I have with the narrative. Kamura Village is surrounded by a diverse set of explorable areas, each teeming with distinct life forms to hunt and materials to collect. These landscapes are complemented by a fantastic musical score and a huge level of detail directed toward the game's ambience. Traversal is made even more interesting with all sorts of noises coming from all directions, including the booming roars of the game's most vicious monsters. Series veterans will recognize some monsters from past games, but there are also some new monsters making their series debut, and they are designed really well, fitting right in with an already solid roster. Encountering a monster for the first time is just as thrilling as it was in past games, and you'll need to learn its traits and behavioral patterns, which will make future hunts more efficient. Slaying a monster still rewards you with materials to craft new gear, or if you're in a Pokemon mood, you can capture them, which also comes with its own payoff. Hunting monsters by yourself can be a lonely endeavor, so you can always dive into some multiplayer. This time around, online play is separate from the game's main story, meaning that you can hop into multiplayer right from the get-go. Everything multiplayer related is located in the Gathering Hub, offering quests that are designed for more than one person and including nearby services for ease of access. Joining an online lobby with your friends is made simpler, as not much is needed to get started. Multiplayer designed quests increase your overall hunting rank, adding more monsters to fight as you raise your ranking. Likewise, the same can be said for the single-player village quests that advance the main story and offer expeditions that are designed to be completed on your own devices. In my personal experience, the multiplayer hunts were a different kind of fun. There was a lot more going on, especially when monsters would attack one another. One of my favorite moments was when me and another player were riding on a monster, launching them all over the place, dealing massive damage as a result. Rise also manages to balance these quests depending on the number of players in your hunting party, but if you're feeling up for it, they can be completed in single player as well. However, despite offering more money and items, the hunts themselves are no laughing matter, and will definitely provide a decent challenge. One of Monster Hunter Rise's core gameplay additions is the Rampage quests. These are an essential part of the game's story and can easily be described as the game's tower defense mode. For the most part, these quests, while providing some hectic gameplay, are more frustrating than enjoyable. Hordes of monsters will come charging at you, so tactful strategies to defend the village are needed to survive. After a few of these, the Rampage quests start quickly. There is a limited amount of workspace to place traps and equipment, meaning that it often becomes extremely tedious. Despite all this, tackling these quests in multiplayer mode can be pretty enjoyable, as you have a greater chance of succeeding. As is always the series norm, the most important part of Monster Hunter Rise is the progression system. Killing a monster rewards you with all sorts of goodies, which can be used to craft new armor and weapons. Visiting the forge will be on your own agenda a lot, and yes, you'll need to deal with the intimidating weapon upgrade tree. At first glance, the upgrade system in Monster Hunter Rise is quite overwhelming, with tons of options to choose from. For instance, you may need to defeat more monsters to unlock other parts of the upgrade tree, so that you can use the materials to finally get that greatsword you've been after for 5 hours. No upgrade is permanent though, with options to roll back gear, so you can always recover your well-spent crafting materials. This is where Monster Hunter Rise becomes dangerously addictive, to the point where you'll start to realize it's 5 AM and you should probably get some sleep. Monster Hunter Rise also comes packed with some interesting new additions, and the introduction of the Palamute is probably one of the game's biggest strengths. It significantly speeds up the traversal of the game's gorgeous locales and makes exploring more fun from a gameplay perspective. The Palamute is also formidable during a monster encounter, and will attack them to deal commendable damage. Alongside your newfound canine companion, the iconic Palico return and continue to support the hunter while out in the field. Both creatures come with deep customization options and have a whole section of Kamura Village dedicated to them. There are even options to recruit a variety of different animal pals, each with their own skills that can be swapped out at any time. All 14 weapon variations from the series make a triumphant return. Each one comes with a unique playstyle, featuring different combo options and ways to approach a monster encounter. Monster Hunter Rise makes this even more engaging with the implementation of the wirebug mechanic. Essentially, it is a grappling hook of sorts, presenting you with the opportunity to dodge attacks more fluidly and use the environment to your advantage. They add way more depth to an already fantastic RPG, allowing you to launch yourself onto a monster with brute force or knock them down to perform a wyvern riding. The latter basically replaces the traditional mounting mechanics, allowing you to take full control of the monster's movements to attack other creatures or launch them to deal massive damage to the monster itself. Monster Hunter Rise respects your time with tons of content, ample upgrades, and rewards for those wanting to get stronger. The game also understands that some players will want to take their time with it, with no real sense of urgency to rush to the top of the ranks. I'm excited for the official launch of the game, as I'll be able to enjoy going out on hunts with my friends. Monster Hunter Rise is a game I'll surely be playing for a long time, as Capcom has promised additional content is coming, with the first batch arriving sometime in April. Rise manages to continue the series' trend of delivering an excellent action RPG while offering meaningful rewards and addicting gameplay. The game's new additions, such as the Palamute and Wirebugs, add more depth to what was already a solid foundation. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, hit that thumbs down. And as always, if you enjoy reviews, reactions, news, skits, or graphics comparison videos, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. Thanks a lot for watching, and we will talk to you guys later. See ya.